Year-old undeveloped kid running from Sunday Lister. I'm experienced now, professional. Jaws been broke, been lost, knocked down a couple times. Bad. Been chopping trees. I done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. That's right. I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
Man, dude.
Bad.
Ain't no doubt.
Fast. Last night, I cut the light off my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
Incredible.
Fast.
Incredible.
And you, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you.
Hey everybody, once again, welcome to another special episode of H&R Movie Talk. I am H.B. Gibson, along with
RT Mac, and yes, this will be a very special episode. This will be the first time we discuss a documentary.
Yep.
And we couldn't think of a better way to start off a documentary discussion than with Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. We're talking about Facing Ali. This is a film that talks about the greatest, the prettiest, the meanest, the bad man. Yes, from the point of view of many of his opponents.
Which is an interesting change, because normally you would hear, other people talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
They would still have past opponents,
Mm-hmm.
but this is truly just from the point of view of the people that fought him and how it changed their lives.
Yeah.
And they all watched each other fight him. So they're all connected in one way or another.
I mean, everyone from Cooper to Frazier to Holmes to Lau to Norton to Shivers to Spinks to Terrell, they all had a story to tell about what happened in the ring, and they were very honest about what was going on in the ring,
And they were very honest about what was going on in their personal lives.
Absolutely.
Like, one of the saddest stories we heard was from George Chuvalo,
Yeah.
former Canadian heavyweight champion.
Yes.
He was also a big heavyweight of the world title contender.
Mm-hmm.
He fought the likes of Ali,
Yes.
Foreman, Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
He defeated, I believe, Oscar Bonavena and Jerry Quarry. He was, and Ernie Shavers,
Yeah.
another person on this documentary,
Yes.
says that Chuvalo was the only person he knew that could take shots like he did and
Yeah.
still come out of the fight in good shape.
Absolutely. We also go into the many different fights of all the rematches. I mean, like, he fought Spinks, 3 times? Twice.
He fought Frazier 3 times.
Frazier 3 times, yes. Smoking Joe Frazier.
Mm-hmm. And as Ron Lau calls him, a little pit bull, little dog. And Chuvalo said that Frazier's biggest asset was his constant punching and the intensity of those punches.
Absolutely. We also got to see the rope-a-dope with Muhammad Ali versus the legendary, still kicking George Foreman.
Oh, and has he made such a living after boxing?
Yeah. I have one downstairs.
I have one too. The Foreman Grill.
Foreman Grill. Makes good grilled veggies too, not just burgers.
And the first person on this documentary that we see is Sir Henry Cooper.
Oh man, his story was amazing.
And he, they fought in Wembley Stadium in England in front of 40,000 people.
Right.
And back then, Muhammad Ali was going by his birth name, Cassius Clay.
Yeah, and he was a big show-off, a super show-off. I mean, his head was getting really, really big, but Cooper gave him a slice of humble biscuit.
He knocked him down. Ali went to the ground, but even when he hits the mat, he just looks up at Cooper like he can't believe it. Like, I think that was one of the first times he was ever knocked down in his career.
Exactly.
So it gave him much more respect to Cooper. And according to him, Ali always said that Cooper not only, he didn't hit me, he hit me so hard that he not only shook me, he shook my relations in Africa. That's a pretty good line.
That was a pretty good line. Yeah, this was definitely a great documentary. If you are a Muhammad Ali historian and fan, and you just want to revisit, this was shown on Spike at one time, right? Yeah, it was shown on Spike, and it's fantastic. It really is.
I mean, the way they go into their personal stories, like
Oh yeah.
like Sir Henry Cooper's father, fought in the First World War, and his grandfather fought a 20-round bare-knuckle fight.
Mm-hmm.
George Chuvalo sadly lost 3 sons and his wife.
Yeah.
All around one time period. Ernie Shavers, his father was threatened by the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
But luckily, his grandfather had sent him to another town where he got a job and sent for his family.
Right.
Joe Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, according to him, borrowing cars that weren't his and not bringing them back.
well, Spinks had a couple of run-ins with the law too.
Oh yeah. But even him growing up, what motivated him was seeing his mother constantly defending him and standing up for him, and he wanted to protect his mother, not have her do that.
Yeah.
So he started fighting, and he had such natural talent
Yep.
that nobody picked on him ever again. And like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman before him, he won a gold medal in the Olympics.
Yep. And Muhammad Ali was one of his idols. And he said that one of the biggest things about him fighting Ali was the fact that he basically bested his idol.
Yeah. And actually, Leon Spinks was actually, I think, the only person to actually take the title away from Ali. Because when Ali first fought Frazier was defending the championship.
Right.
And Ali was trying to regain it. But Leon Spinks is the only fighter to ever take away the title from him.
That's right.
And it was a close 15-round decision.
Sure was.
Back when fights lasted 15 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's packed with so much information. Ron Lyle in prison for second-degree murder.
Yeah.
Also, at one time in solitary confinement. He said that he had a dream when he was in the hole on a bowl of spinach doing 100 push-ups on it. And he fought Ali in his dream.
Yeah.
And when he got out and fought Ali several years later, everything they were doing was exactly like the dream.
Exactly like the dream. That was an amazing story.
It's incredible. I mean, George Foreman, what a story he was, having a religious, experience.
A religious experience after he lost. After he lost, he had a religious experience.
I mean, because he tried coming back. He fought Jimmy Young in Puerto Rico. It didn't work out because Jimmy Young won. And he couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
He felt everybody betrayed him. He didn't have it anymore.
Yep.
And he just had this religious experience. And to this day, he's
been good.
He says he believes in a God. He just doesn't believe in religion.
That's good. That's always
for him,
a good message.
For him, that helped him get his life back on track. And 20 years after he lost his title to Ali, he regained it.
Yeah.
It wasn't against Ali, obviously, but the fact that 20 years later, at the age of like 48, 49, he was able to regain the heavyweight championship.
That was amazing. That was a miracle.
He was like, he did it before Bernard Hopkins. And Bernard Hopkins actually beat his record by 1 year. I think Bernard was 50 when he regained his championship.
Amen. He was mean, he was pretty, he was a bad man, he was Muhammad Ali.
Yep, and of course, let me see, Ernie Terrell. Ernie Terrell sang a song on the Jack Benny show way back. Just enticing Ali because he called him by his former name, Cassius Clay.
Won't you come home, dear Cassius? Won't you come home? He called him out through a song.
And this was like the first time that Ali called anyone an Uncle Tom. He called Ernie Terrell an Uncle Tom, and even during the fight, kind of was poking him in the eye.
That's right.
So,
and check it out. George Foreman said something very funny. He said he's like, man, he keeps calling me an Uncle Tom. I ain't never peeped at no women.
Oh yeah, when Joe Frazier, when he was telling that to Joe Frazier, Joe felt like Ali was calling him a peeping Tom.
A peeping Tom, yeah.
But George is like, he didn't know what an Uncle Tom was. But it also highlights, Muhammad Ali's relationship with Malcolm X.
Yes. When the moment where he changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, the name given to him by Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, the Black Muslims, and you know, in Joe Frazier's words, they preach hate, so therefore both sides were wrong.
Right.
And in a way, he does have a point, because if you think about it, during the Civil Rights Movement, it was basically the black community was divided into two groups.
Right.
There was the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. group and
Yeah.
the Malcolm X group.
And Malcolm X group.
See, Martin Luther King was all about going things peacefully, peaceful protests, even though like loud peaceful protests.
Yeah.
Malcolm X was more the extremist, the more Black Panther style.
Yep, defend no matter what by any means necessary. But both sides had their points. Both
Yeah.
sides had like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Now we disagree with Muhammad Ali during that period when he said he doesn't think that black children should learn about other cultures. We don't really agree with that because we think children should know all about the whole world.
Right.
Because you never know when they're going to, you know, meet somebody from a different culture, and you want to at least have a little general knowledge.
You have to understand the mentality of people during that time in that particular state. He was just very, very strong about his black culture. He felt as if that black folks were being unjustly treated, which they were back in that time. That was a serious civil rights movement.
And especially during the Vietnam War, which they also highlight in here.
Yeah.
His stance against it, the fact that he was found guilty and his license was taken away for 3 years. And one thing that was interesting before they convicted him was when he fought George Chuvalo in Canada. You know, the veterans in America hated his stance on Vietnam, so they had to push the fight all the way to Canada.
That's right, yeah.
And he had an amazing time.
That's right.
Everybody from the cops on down treated him with dignity and respect. I'm surprised he didn't just stay there.
That's the reason why he had to have fights out of the country anyway, not just in Canada, but also in Africa and other places, because he couldn't fight in the United States because of his stance on the war. And his thing was, why would I go out and die for a country that hates me anyway?
Yeah, and he said, like, the Viet Cong had never done anything to me.
Exactly.
So, and the thing is, I'm glad you brought up Africa, because when he fought George Foreman, you know, in the fight that became known as the Rumble in the Jungle,
Yeah.
you know, George actually says that when Ali went there, he found something to fight for more than money and championship belts. And he says when a fighter finds something like that, you can't hardly beat him.
That's right.
And it's true, because look how dominant he was after he regained the belt.
Yeah.
He beat Frazier 2 more times. He beat Ken Norton 2 more times, and also Ken Norton. Yeah, like, he beat Ali in their first fight, broke his jaw in the last round. Although they say, you know, Ali would say that his jaw got broken in the second round to make himself look like he could take all that pain.
Yep. And then it was a thriller and a chiller when he beat that big gorilla in Manila.
Oh yeah, the final Frazier fight. And if you ever see that fight, it's on YouTube. The whole fight's on YouTube.
Yeah.
You see them go at it.
Oh, they went at it, man.
And considering that fights went 15 rounds back then, Joe Frazier, when they called it at the end of the 14th for Ali, Joe just kept going on.
Right.
As much as he was getting hit and getting hurt, he had the same speed and consistency throughout the entire fight.
Yeah.
And Ali just had to be on the defensive and hit him when he could. And he hit him so much that both of Frazier's eyes closed.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't want him to get hurt, so they threw in the towel. And Frazier wasn't mad about it.
No.
You know,
He gave his all.
better that he
It was a great fight.
Better that he stay healthy, other than, you know, the reason why fights don't go 15 rounds anymore. I don't know if you remember this. A fighter actually ended up dying from the fight.
Yeah.
When the fight went too long, he was knocked out, but it was such a horrible knockout that I think he died either on the way to the hospital or at the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's why they not only have extra ropes, but also the fights went down to 12 rounds. So, and also, Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes.
A former sparring partner of Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Who unfortunately suffered under Don King. You know, he said that one year he fought 6 times and only earned $700.
$700. Come on.
And the thing is, Larry Holmes fought. He had such an incredible undefeated streak. he was this close to tying Rocky Marciano's heavyweight record of 49-0, but his 49th fight was, I think, against Corey Spinks, Leon Spinks' brother,
Right.
and he beat him twice.
Yep.
So, it's pretty amazing, like, how life works out. But Larry Holmes, he was in a bad situation against Ali because Ali was older. He had come out of retirement, and you could tell the Parkinson's was starting to get to him because he was slurring his words in interviews.
Right.
And when they fought, he couldn't move around as much because of the disease and the medication he took. So, as they called it, he was a slow-moving punching bag.
Yeah. And it also documented all the way up to his I'll just say the end of his well-lived life. They touched upon the fact that he had Parkinson's disease, but you know what? He lived a full life. I can fondly remember this wonderful commercial that was made. I forget even what the commercial was about, but they took his old fighting film. It was a black and white film where one of his fights, and somehow was able to digitally place Layla Ali in the ring with a younger Muhammad Ali, and all they showed was like it was the part where he was like dodging the punches and everything, and when he was in the ring, he was smiling. I don't know who he was smiling actually at. I don't know what the actual fight was, but they were able to digitally place Layla Ali in the ring with her father. That was great.
And speaking of Layla Ali, she fought Joe Frazier's daughter. They were both daughters were boxers, and they billed that fight as Ali Frazier 4.
Wow.
And Layla ended up coming out on top, and her record at the end of her career, I think it was like 30 or 33 victories to just like 3 losses. She had a great record.
Yeah.
An incredible record. And one thing I do want to also point out is that even after his whole career ended, he became a strong activist for finding a cure to Parkinson's disease, which does plague other people like Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
But it didn't plague anyone as bad as it did Muhammad Ali, because he was also a boxer. I guess a combination of boxing and Parkinson's, caused him, caused him what happened later in his life with not being able to move much, not really being able to talk. But still, when he could say something and had something to say, it was really powerful. Like when Nelson Mandela passed away.
Yeah.
Ali, he didn't talk much at that time, but for Nelson Mandela, he would certainly say something because that was someone who inspired him.
When Chuvalo visited a bedridden Ali, Ali looked up at him and touched his hair and said, "You got some pretty hair."
And when Ken Norton saw him drawing pictures, he said, "Ali, let's do it one more time." He turns to him, opens his eyes, and all he says is Norton. All these guys,
There was respect. There was definitely recognition and respect.
And love.
Yeah. There's an old saying that says you never really know someone until you fight them.
We'll see if you can guess that reference, that movie reference too. But as you know, in the year 2000, the biopic of Ali came out with Will Smith.
Yeah.
And Ali was actually quoted as saying, "You're almost pretty enough to play me." and Ali, even at the age that he was with the Parkinson's, he just went on the punching bag and he still had some of his speed.
Yeah, he did.
It was incredible. And then they show him in the ring with Will Smith, and Will is trying to move around, shuffle like he did. Ali just stands still and does this. And Will goes right down. He went down.
That's priceless, man. But Ali was also a very, very good film. It was very good.
He inspired a lot of people, from Sugar Ray Leonard to Mike Tyson to the Klitschko brothers to, I think, who did Mike Tyson fight? Lennox Lewis. Everybody. And his last fight, they don't show it on here, but his last fight was with Trevor Berbick, who Ali fought better against him than Larry Holmes, but he still lost by unanimous decision. But still, he was able to finish the fight, and leave with his head held high because he knew he had an amazing career.
There was one other Ali story that I saw. I'll never forget it. It was actually a two-man play where an older gentleman played the older Ali and a younger gentleman played the young Ali. And it was just a two-man play, but you swore that there was a huge set. There was no set, but the way it was acted out, it was as if you could see and hear all the other people because it was so well acted. I saw it several years ago. If you can ever catch this play, I don't know if it's in production anywhere, but if you ever happen to catch it, please do. It's beautiful. It's just a two-man play.
And sadly, we lost Muhammad Ali last year. But he had basically, it's like when silent actor Rudolph Valentino or when JFK was assassinated. Muhammad Ali had millions of people, you know, basically attend his ceremonies across the country.
Right.
And, you know, three of his pallbearers were Will Smith, Mike Tyson, and George Chuvalo, one of his past opponents.
Yeah.
And Chuvalo, you know, always gave him great tributes, especially when Ali first won the title from Sonny Liston.
Mm-hmm.
He said Ali moved like a gazelle.
Yeah.
And he had his arms down just dodging. It was like watching Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like
the way it was dodging those punches, man, it was really something.
Sonny Liston had incredible power, but against Ali's speed, especially at the age of 22, he couldn't do anything.
Right, right.
That's why in their second fight, Chuvalo says Sonny Liston took a dive because he knew he couldn't catch him, and I guess, you know, the black Muslims kind of threatened him.
Yeah.
So, you know, Sonny was not going to take any chances. He just, even George Foreman said he's just fighting for the money.
Right,
He admitted that to Foreman. So.
Yeah. Well, Facing Ali. Please do check it out. Purchase it. It's definitely a keeper if you just happen to be home chilling and you want to watch a good sports documentary about the greatest, the meanest, the prettiest, the bad man, Muhammad Ali. That's my
And to the Ali family, you know, we just want to say that we miss this man. You know, Layla, I know you always do a lot of great activism, you know, in your father's place. So we just want to say that we love your family, we respect this man, everything he did.
There will never be another.
Yep, just like Leon Spinks said, you ought to just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever touch this man's legacy. I don't care what a certain money-making retired boxer says about himself. He will never be on the level as Muhammad Ali.
That's right.
I don't care what your undefeated record is. You know, this man's legacy is even better because he fought wars.
Right.
And because he actually fought, not just ran.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for both of us at H&R Movie Talk, we'll see you next time.
I hit him with a jab, and I hit him with a cross, and I did something called the whoop-a-doop.